Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with us. We started a few minutes late, but no worries. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for a Learning and Growing webinar, an effective way to enhance teaching and learning on OneNote. Our presenter today is Professor Fan Chen of El Paso Community College. My name is Sidra, and I'm a member of the marketing team here at Hawks Learning. We will have a live Q&A session after the presentation, so you can enter your questions into the Q&A as we go. Professor Chan has said that she would like to answer questions as we go, so if you do have anything super important that you want to ask, please feel free to ask them during the presentation as well. I will now hand over to our lovely presenter for today.
Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you? Maybe it's a good morning, or maybe it's good evening or afternoon. Wherever you are, stay out of the heat. Okay, so today I want to share with you, just like you mentioned, right, how we can engage our student in an effective way using the technology. When I'm speaking, I'm going to share my screen. Sometimes when you talk and you forget how to work on all the things together. Here we go. I hope that you can see my PowerPoint. Oops, don't go too fast. All right, here we go. All right, so after, well, I cannot, I was just too excited. So after pandemic hit, right, we all move online teachings, and I heard a lot from my colleague, including myself, how can we engage our students, especially when we need to teach the online courses are in asynchronized setup. So I wanted to share with you what I have learned in the past couple of years and how I engage my students from the asynchronized online class, and then I adopted that into my hybrid courses and also face-to-face course. And I use OneNote, just like the title I mentioned. I use OneNote. It's amazing, amazing tool. I wanted to share with you. Oh, by the way, I'm teaching math. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to find a tool for math, right? We need to, allow the student to insert maybe the pictures of the handwritten or write on the screen to answer some questions. So I'm going to share with you how I use this OneNote to engage my student learning. And if you have not used OneNote, and I wanted to share with you some of the feature of the OneNote, and this lovely chat is coming from the Java point. I use it from them, and you can see that I can do to math, and I can organize, my notes, my data in my OneNote. So basically, the OneNote is just like the physical binder, but it's more than a binder because you also can insert like your online resources over there, like your YouTube video, and you can leave the students voice message, and you can record your lectures. There are so many features you can use that, and definitely you can use as a web clippers, and you can create a lot of templates and distribute that to your students, and you can do your research and save your resources for your research. And is you even can translate your notes in the OneNote. Is really cool app we can use in our classroom. So you can use that for personal use, and also you can use it in classroom. So today I'm going to share with you how I use in my classroom, which is the OneNote class notebook. Hey, and also pay attention to the questions, and feel free to put some question on if you have any questions. So there's a quick bullet I share with you how I use the OneNote, and definitely I use more than that. Definitely I use that to organize my notes, and including my personal and my teaching note. It's so easy. I can create sections, and I can move the section around, and I can distribute the section from one notebook to another notebook, just like you have the access to the copier. You make copies and then put it in the other binders. Yes, just like the name. I can do the note taking. The cool thing in my class, engaging my students is collaborations. And I can use a page or a section I'm going to share with you pretty soon, and have my student to join the page, and we contribute in the at the same page work, just like we are in the classroom. Right, it's very cool. And even for my face-to-face class, I do project-based learning. So that is a great place for my students to do brainstorming, collaboration, and documenting the group works for that. And definitely I use that for presenting for my lecture notes. And I'm going to show it to you how I use it for searching the content, and also how I my student using it for searching the content. And it does have a learning curve for my students. I started using OneNote to engage my students' learning before the pandemic, but it did not go very well. It seems like my students come into my class, they did not want to use technology. They just wanted to use pencil or paper. And even my student commented to me saying, you know, Professor Chen, can you just go on the board to write your notes on the board, right? But after the pandemic hits and students get used to the technology right now, they really love to use OneNote to communicate with me, to submit their work or do the group projects for this. And there's some amazing math tools in OneNote because the behind engine behind that is math solver. Some people might think that is a disadvantage because student can see the solution step, but to me, it's a very cool way to have my student to engage my student to review and practice more without I have like I need to watch over them, like what you need to do. They will take the ownership of learning. That's why I like those tools. And certainly it's very easy for me to distribute the handouts, and I can do a very good engaging feedback. I can record my voice feedback to my student in the particular problems. So I'm very excited to use OneNote, and you can see that on the screen. I have some picture over this, right? And I can even insert my Microsoft Excel data sheet and have students to play with that. I use a lot in my differential equation class when they do the numerical approach method, and I insert the template so they can start playing with the data. All right. And let's see. It seems like we don't have any question yet. And this is my OneNote class notebook. Looks like indeed this was just last semester I did, and you can see that in on the section I have collaboration space where maybe I have the in-class discussion. Oh, I forgot to mention this is the face-to-face class. And I still doing the OneNote or online component. It's very similar setup for my online courses. So the discussion, what I did is I put a question over there, and the student will contribute what they think. Sometimes students will quiet and shy, and they're afraid to make mistakes. So in class, when you ask the student, "And what do you think? Can you share what you're thinking?" They just, I made mistake. But after I started use OneNote, and the student I taught my student how to download the OneNote app in the phone. So what they do is they just write on piece of paper, and then go into the phone, take a picture, and upload over there, and we share the information, and we have some conversation of everyone's brainstorming, and then go from there for to deeper our learning. And definitely, the content library is the one I have the access to post stuff, but students cannot go in to change things, but they can view it. So I usually put my lecture notes there. I will put some handouts there, and all the information I want to share with my students is a one-way sharing. I don't want them to change it. So that's the place, just like the name, right? Library. And the teacher only over the places and is that is I forgot to share my little bit cool things, right? The teacher only that place is just like the cabinet in your office, right? You can put all your material over there, and then when you're ready, when you want to share any material, you just grab that from the cabinet, right? You just copy or you can just distribute the pages to all the students' notebook. At the beginning of a semester, I will enroll all my students into the OneNote. So they have their own binders, and I have access to everyone's binders. For them, they only can see their own binders, right? So when I wanted to give out the handouts, and I can just distribute the pages to their binders, their OneNote. So no longer a student will say, oh, you know what, I lost that copy. That's the reason I cannot finish my assignment. Or, I forgot, which handout you gave it to us. So this is the way I can help my student to start organizing the notes. And because there's another responsibility as an educator, we need to make sure they enhance their soft skills, right? And there's one of the soft skill I'm helping my student to do that. And you can see this is the default template I created for my students, just like they have their binder. I help them to put, put the different sections over there, but they have the right to reorganize them and change the name, change the color of the tab, right? So I have the homework assignment, and I really have my student need to show the work when they work on assignment, even they use the publisher's assignment, then they still need to show the work so they can write it on OneNote. And when they have questions, they can tell me, oh, I have my work so in the homework assignment section, but I do have questions in section 5. What was the problem? Then I can go to the notebook, take a look what they did, and I will leave a comment on the side or message on the side or put some resources for them. And yeah, so that is what the notebook looks like for my students. Okay, so this is one of the examples, because I wanted to save the time to do the demo. And this is one of the examples from my pre-calculus class. I do project-based learning. So when at the beginning of the semester, I asked my students to start thinking to design a roller coaster, but in a 2D, not in a 3D way. For our local playland, it's called Western Playland. So this is one of the pictures my student took of the roller coaster they built. So what they did is they started building the roller coaster, and from there, they need to figure out how can I model this roller coaster with piecewise function with different degree of polynomial functions, or even any other functions they wish. So this is the one I met with the group, and I just asked them to upload the picture of the roller coaster into the collaboration part, the project part. So I started talking to them online, and so okay, it seems like what is your height of your the model, the prototype you build, and what was initial design? Is it like 500 feet, whatever the feet required in the project? So we were talking about scale factor and back and forward to write out what we understand. And so you can see the conversation happening in here, and really engaging the students to be to this project. And I found that is my student attending my office hour or made appointment with me more and try to learn more because of using the OneNote, because many of my students, they have family responsibility as well, and many of those are young parents, and very often it's very hard for them to travel to campus to meet with me, with the young children, or sometimes they wanted to meet with me like at 10 p.m. and I'm not in my office in 10 p.m. right? So this is a great way. They say, okay, let me set an appointment with Miss Chen, and then we can just meet online. And this is the one we can just like freely talk when we are meeting. We don't need to really have a whiteboard behind me and started writing. Some of my students might not have the technology access to the technology. They don't have the tablet to write on. So what I did is asking them to write that on a piece of paper and just take a picture and upload the OneNote, or sometimes they tell me and I can write it for them. Right, so that's one of the example. We have a lot of conversation during this meeting, and I was able to diagnose my students' misunderstanding or gaps, and even I can give a mini lecture to this group during the meeting time. Okay, so this is another example is homework. This is a one-way homework. And it's for my difference equation class last semester. And my student, just have a regular notebook, you can tell, regular notebook, and work on the assignments. And what he did was I taught them how to download an app, like scanning app, so they can scan their assignment into a PDF file or PNG, so they can upload those files into OneNote. So I was grading, and this is a really good one. And I have some comment at the end. It's like, may I use yours as the answer key to my other students? So you can see that OneNote allow me to do this like a cool customized sticker notes. So I give him a sticky notes, and then it might not appear on here, and I have voice recording message to my student as well. It's like, great job, Paul, and keep doing that, and something like that, or give a specific feedback. So that's a homework grading. This is an exam. All right, so that's the exam my students submitted, and I got a piecewise function that's definitely is for my pre-calculus class example as well. So you can see my student did this one. I wrote a lot of comments in here, and she wrote a lot of, how she did this problem. And I realized that students still have some problem with the piecewise functions. And you can see on the right-hand side, I was able to just go very quickly to go to YouTube or any of the video platform and search like how to grab a piecewise function. It doesn't have to be my video. I just use take advantage of all the resources we can find, and just very quick to post the link. Then you can see this video is embedded to the OneNote. And my student one day, when she was reading my comments on here, and she was able to click on this video and reading her problem, and then watch this video at the same time on the same page. And then I put that in the comments, like, see me in my office and schedule an appointment with me, right, to go over these misconceptions. And so my student was able to watch the video and follow the ideas and to fix some of the mistakes she made during the exam, and we do the problem on the side before she met with me in the office hour. And so that's another way to really enhance the students' learning, and also enhance my teaching and build up a stronger connection with my students. So those are the examples that I use in my classroom. Now, I want to take you to the demo. All right, let me share my screen. And let me know if you have any question. Please feel free to interrupt me anytime, because I love to answer questions. And in class, I feel bored if I just only one presenting and talking to to the student. All right, so this is the OneNote in my the one of those I said so to you. So I used that last semester, the spring 2022. It's my difference equation class, and several things I wanted to share with you, and I can do a demo very quickly. So for instance, this is I can make and a handout to my student, and you can see that this can be a to-do list, a checklist for this. That's okay. I have my student to review the algebra class, right? So ask the student to solve these quadratic equations. And one thing is I can have the student to take advantage of this the feature in the OneNote when they say, oh, really, I don't know how to solve this. Well, you can use the tool in OneNote to help you for understanding. And so they don't have to wait until they come to my office to get help. So what they need to do is they go to the insert, right? And that is math tool, which is connected to the math solver at Microsoft Math Solver. Sorry, I have to move things around in my screen because I'm watching the question as well. And the student can say, okay, what do I want to learn? I wanted to review how to solve for X or how to graph this function in a 2D, right? So okay, this case is a solve for X, right? Most of the calculator will say, okay, yeah, there is a answer for this, but this one is very cool that the student can say, okay, I wanted to see how I do it. Well, in what method? Completing square root or using quadratic formula. Or I can use that for myself to create a study guide, right? Just not only for the student, but can for me to use. So it can, for me, it's very easy to create a study guide for my student very quickly. You can see that that is, so the student how to do that. And even this have the immersive reader, which can read it to the student. If the student have special need, they can use take advantage of the feature. So that's another way we can engage our students. And it's very easy. I can drag it over and drop it on here, and it will be a text in here, and I can modify or put some note over here, right? So it's a very quick way for my student to use to do as a self-learning tool, or I can use that as a teaching tool. And another thing is very cool that the student can practice themselves, which is they can generate a practice quiz that will create it using the form, and it will come up. It seems like I have a little bug in here today. My internet a bit slow today. And basically, if we come up multiple choices, and you can grab it over and having the student practice that, or they can practice themselves. And that's one thing. Okay, I create this. Let's forget about the generated practice quiz in here. It seems like some bug over there. We can come back to fix that later on. And also, this is the one is I can have embedded videos in my handout to my students. Right? So for instance, I have my student wanted them to review the limits before they come to class. So I can put here, and this is to-do list. Did you watch it or not? Right? They can check or uncheck that, and they can play this video. And so you can see this video is playing. Let me just mute it. Okay. This video is playing inside the OneNote. So where the student can definitely just write the note on the side or type the note on the side, whatever the things they wanted to do. Right. And then I said, okay, I always wanted my student to play, have some fun with math. Right? So a lot of time I have to post a link, right? Embed a link in a document. So the link will take the student to outside somewhere, and the students, oh, I have to go to other link and make sure I finish that and come back to here, continue watching this. No, right now with this one, I really can engage my student in one place. So like for instance, this is one of the interactive activity I found in the GeoGebra, right? So I can just embed the GeoGebra. I asked my student to review the delta epsilon limit definition. So they certainly can play. Look at this. They can just play that in here while they're okay. I'm watching this video, and I said, okay, I wanted to move around to see, okay, is that what they meant to me? What does that mean, right? So they were able to do multiple tasks in the same place. Or even when I'm teaching, doing my lecture, I do that too. On the same screen, I have different things to set up in my presentation, so the student can just like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. Right, so that is, I definitely will show it to you how I do this, create this template. And also I can do Excel file, right? So I can insert an Excel file into here. What I need to do is, so this is what I wanted to demo, and I can attach, right? Attach a file. Right? So I'm just need to find where my Excel file to locate it. Let's see. Let me know if you cannot see how I search my file, because I only share one window, not my entire screen. Let me go that really quick to find that file. right? So it's an Euler method, and you can see I can upload to a OneNote or from my OneDrive. Okay, so you can see this is an Excel file, and student can easily to just go in here to change any of the data, and then continue working on this Excel file. And when they click on the the refresh and all data component, it will give them change the whole thing and save in the OneDrive as well. If you click on the Excel file, the Excel icon, it will take you, the corner one, it will take you to the official, like the Excel file, so the student can edit in the data and play with this and insert the graph and so on, whatever they need to do, and then they refresh the data. And so you can see it's very easy to create and embed the other component into the OneNote. So you can see that in this one place, I have different things for the student to work on. And also, you can, okay, what if I have a lot of things I created in other documents? Do I need to, redo this again? Wow, that's a very time consuming, right? So definitely, no, you don't have to do that, because you can just insert either as an attachment for a file, or I would like to do that as a printout. What the printout looks like is, let me share with you. Just like if you're teaching in the Blackboard, you might see that, right? You insert a file, and it will convert all the file in the individual image. So you can present each the file pages on your screen. This is a similar concept. You insert a file, convert all the pages into an image. So we insert in this OneNote, so you can hand it to your student in the handout. Okay, let me insert one very quick for this one. Okay, so insert, it is a Word document I'm inserting. Sorry, I have a little bit technical issue in here. My OneNote got frozen. Let me stop sharing and come back very quick. I apologize for this little hiccup in here. All right. Yeah, when you wanted to do a live demo, that's the risk you are taking, right? Okay, let's come back to here, and then let me create a new page in here. Then I say, okay, insert file. Okay, so I'm going to insert one of the file I use. I had that before I started using OneNote, right? So that is, here we go. At insert, it will be a image in here, but you certainly can't start writing stuff right here, or highlighting and do stuff like that in your file. Okay, so you can take advantage of this. And also, that's how my student share the work with me. Like they have their file, maybe Word document, PowerPoint document, or they have the handwritten document, so they can just insert into the submission. Very easy to do so. All right, so that is some of the things how I created and use that to engage my students. And going back to here, okay, now I create this whole thing, right? And how can I give it to my students, and how can I pass the information to my students? So in the OneNote, what I did is I go to the class notebook right here, and I can distribute my my note. I distribute the page. Okay, so I click on the distribute the page, and I can distribute, and you can see I have the option. You see, I can really easily to do the customized teaching, individual teaching to my students. Like for instance, if I have one student having trouble with few concepts in calculus in my differential equation class, or maybe I have a student A, B, C, D have a question about this. So I can just like distribute this handout to that few students or that individual students instead of or have all the students in here. Right? So I can, or you can do a group distribution, which is when you do the group project, you put them in group first, and then you distribute. Okay, each group you have this handout. Or I can do cross the notebook distribution. What does that mean? If I'm teaching the classes, like same classes, right, multiple sections, and I have a handout to all the students. So I don't have to go into that particular class platform to give them a copies. I can just distribute in one place to different sections. Very, very easy to use. Okay, I'm going to do the distributed individual distribution. And before I do that, I will put that is change the name in here as like okay, review demo and put today's date. And then because I'm going to show it to you in my students page, they can see this one. Okay, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to distribute that individual distribution maybe. Okay, so if I do individual distribution, it's okay. Which student I need them to have this handout? I need to use this handout, right? So I may say, okay, maybe John wanted to have this or need to have this. Okay, and maybe Michael need this. So you can select the student, and I'm going to distribute where do I need to put the notes in. I want to put that in the handout, right? I hope the student did not feel like, what happened after semester over? I still get this material. And okay, so that is distributing those files to my student. I use that a lot during my office hour too, right? So if I have 2 or 3 students attending my office hours, similar questions, and I wanted to have them to practice the same problems during my office hour, instead I put everything on my screen. They only can watch me to do so. What I did is I distribute the handout to them to their notebook. Even they coming from different classes, I can do that too. And I say, okay, I give you 5-10 minutes to brainstorm how to work on the problem, write out your thought on this, and I'm going to check your work individually because I'm not sharing the screen. So making sure that they feel safe to share their ideas, and then I will just say, okay, yeah, I found somebody thinking to start it with this approach. And what do you guys think? The rest of the students, they don't know who had that idea, so they feel safe to make mistake. And yeah, okay, anyway, I think while we are talking, I'm already distribute that into all the students. And I think one of the students is John, right? Let's take a look of John's notebook. This is John's notebook, and take a look of his handout. Okay, so handout in here, and I believe this is, let's see, sometimes OneNote will take some time, like a little bit time to, okay, here we go. So this is the one we just created, right? And with the Excel file. So my student will see a copy for this, then they can just study, doodle down the ideas. And that's how I can engage the students and put them in a safe place to share. This is what I found. That's the reason I said an effective way to engage our students in learning and my teaching. It's just that this kind of environment in my classes, students not afraid to make mistake. And after they get used to the cultures, okay, the more mistake I make, the more I can learn. Then later on, they just like, okay, yeah, sure, you can share, my thought. Or they started like, okay, pick me, let me ask the question. This is my idea, and what do you think? So they can hear the other students' feedback. All right. So that is the little demo in the how I distribute the word. Right. So now I'm going to show it to you how I enhance my teaching and using this OneNote. When I'm doing my grading, I just wanted to use Let me stop sharing very quick because I wanted to hide my students' name. This is really my students' submissions. Let me hide the student's name first. Then I will share with you very quick for this. Okay. All right. So this is one of the exam questions that my student submitted. All right, you can see that the students use the wrong notations for this. Extending writing, those comment. I wanted to communicate with my students and let them to hear my comment as well. So what I did is on the side, I will do insert, and then on the top of here, the audio, I can record my voice feedback to my student right next to the submission of the work. And I found the student love it. They like to hear what I meant in here, right? So what mistake they made or how they improve. They felt like I'm sitting by them and telling them, okay, when I'm grading something, hey, look, this is some mistake. We can fix that. Okay, so what I need to do, and let me do a very quick demo. All right, so this is up here is already saying recording, and I'm already recording to my student, and I will say student who, and so okay, look at the problem you wrote in here, and you use the notation log. I'm not quite sure if you meant what the base it is, right? If you meant is the base E, the notation for that should be LN, not LOG, because LOG is by default, we talk it's a common law if space 10. So I can keep blah, 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 and giving the student feedback right here. Definitely, my student can use that too. Sometimes my student have question for me, and sometimes it's very hard, right? For the student try to put them into writing. And then by the time they really can write, they says, you know what, forget it. Let me not ask the questions because it's so hard to tell my professor what I wanted to ask, especially during for the online courses. Let me stop for recording. I forgot that. So my student can do the recording as well. So they did write down the problem, so they will record the questions. Like, okay, for this question, I think I did this, but I'm not sure why I made mistake. Can you check? Or this is my thought. Or when they're writing, and that's the next thing I'm going to show it to you. When I'm writing, I can record that as well. Okay, let me play, and I believe that you should be able to hear the voice. And on the top over here, when the student receive this feedback, so basically I will write something right here and it say that here is my, listen to my feedback. Listen to my feedback or comment, right? So I can put something in here so the student can just like, okay, watch this one, and then they can just go over here and play the voice. Right, so it has the voice come with this grading where I can give the feedback to my student right here. So that is another engaging to my student. It doesn't take any extra work with me. I mean, I'm still grading. I still just using the same type in grading. And I just need to turn on the recording, right? And then they just, oh, okay. I was like, when I'm grading, I was like, okay, I think, I think you need to go back to review this part, right? Going back to chapter 1 and take a look at the theorems. So what were the thing I need to say? So when I'm grading, I can talk and recording that already. So sometimes my daughter say, hey, mom, are you talking to me? I say, shh. No, I'm recording comment to my students. yeah, but with this technology, I can max my time to engage my students with very cool things I use in this for teaching. I love it, and especially after my students got used to the technology because of the pandemic, where everything's moved online. Now in my face-to-face class, I say, hey guys, we are going to use OneNote for this class, for our collaboration, for our lecture notes, for our handout, and also you need to do your reading journal. Yeah, in my class, they need to do reading journal. So in the first couple of weeks, they felt like very offended. It's like, what? I need to use this. And it's a very negative feedback, being honest. But after I patiently demonstrated to them, and every time when they come to my office hour, and I consistently using OneNote in in answering the questions, and I pull out their OneNote notebook and write my comments or write the notes in their notebook. Then they started seeing the benefit of using it, and then by week 4 and 5, all my students study using OneNote to send me questions or doing the discussions, and they study or submit the homework in the OneNote. Even with my face-to-face class, they will say, do you really need the paper submission, or can I just submit my homework on OneNote? I said, yeah, you can submit your homework on the OneNote. Yeah, so that is what I have. Let me take a pause to see if you have any question. It seems like I have a very quiet group. Do you have any questions? Any comments? I don't see any questions so far.
So we have a couple that were sent privately.
Oh, okay.
How comfortable are your students with using OneNote for course assignments?
Okay, yeah. So at the beginning, just like I mentioned at the beginning, they were not comfortable at all, especially I'm teaching math. And they just say, how can I do that? And many of my students will say, I don't have the tablet, I don't have iPad. But after I show it to them, you can just download OneNote into your phone, and then you go to the section where you wanted to submit your assignment. Yeah, so you can just take a picture. You write on your assignment in here on the paper first, and then take a picture and upload that. And after several practice, now they become pros. Yeah, it takes some learning curve. And I always tell my students, you do need to step out your comfort zone to get used to use this kind of technology. And for my face-to-face class, and I started from in-class assignment. So they will start practicing that. Definitely, I have some students don't have the smartphone. What happened? What we can they can do is I will show it to them how to just take advantage of the camera on the laptop, and then they can just put there and take a picture of this and then upload it. Yeah, so it does take some learning curve, but at the next semester, that everyone feel comfortable with OneNote. Thank you for that question.
That's fantastic. So do you use OneNote differently for online asynchronized courses versus hybrid courses versus face-to-face courses?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And most of the time I use them the same way, except the collaboration part. Like for instance, my asynchronized class, that they log in different way, different time, they work on the assignment different time. So for that one, what I do is I assign them in the group section. In the group sections, I will assign tasks. Like assign, okay, student A, student P, student C, you will go to this part of OneNote and put down your brainstorming by this deadline, and student G, F, whatever J, and go into that part. And so I need to do a core, planning for this one, because I don't know when they're logging in and contribute and brainstorming part or the project part. But for my hybrid course and my face-to-face course, they use quite quite the same way, like in class. I still using OneNote as my whiteboard in the classroom. So I lecture on the OneNote, and then when they come to the class discussions, and I told them, if you feel comfortable share your work, you can come up to the board to share your work. And what I do when I say the board is they come up to me and use my iPad and started writing. But for those who don't feel comfortable to share in public, just upload your file in to the page in the OneNote. So that's a slight difference. And for the assignment, it's the same way for both online hybrid and face-to-face class. They can submit the homework assignment on OneNote. And I even with the homework assignment, they complete it in the publisher's online homework platform, but I still want them to show their work. So they have to, start working out the problem in the OneNote notebook, not only the final answer in the platform. So yeah, so that one is the same way. And when I do the handout, I distribute the handout to everyone the same way across the 3 different formats. Thank you.
That's awesome. One last question. So it seems like you can do a lot with OneNote. What should I begin with as a new user so that I don't feel so overwhelmed?
Yeah, definitely. I know the first time when I started using OneNote, I was just overwhelmed with all those features, just like any technology, right? When you saw other people using it, you said, oh my goodness, there's so many features. How can I do that? And then I felt like, how can I plan my courses? So my suggestion is, let me go back to my OneNote. All right. So maybe you started using that as your personal notebook first. And let me go out really quick. Okay, so I might just go to my lecture note first. So you might want to use it as a personal note to see how comfortable you are, to see, okay, do you like to write stuff? So use that as like a regular writing notebook. And then from there, maybe insert some of the feature how you wanted to have those. For instance, I can practice to use my existing handout, not just not like a complete new, because I wanted to take advantage of what I have, right? So I'm just go ahead to find a document, insert document. I always in my class, I always use this document in teaching, but I did not use OneNote. I use my whiteboard, or I use my PowerPoint, or I use my Word document. So I'm going to just put this document into my OneNote, and then I will started drawing on oops, sorry, I forgot to, I'm using mine, and I'm going to start drawing, use the OneNote to practice that, and then from there and add on each of the feature, right? For instance, if you wanted to do some recording, or you wanted to do some other feature, insert some of the symbol or anything else, just practice. My suggestion is add one function at a time. After you got used to 1 or 2 functions, and okay, I wanted to use more, I want to use more, eventually you will find that I'm a pro in OneNote. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So any other questions? No? I hope that's helpful. I hope that can help you to use in your classroom to engage your student, just like any other technology, right? Any other simulation, you can bring your content live. You're using it. This is how I use OneNote, and I bring all the resources together to engage my student learning, and and also helping them to enhance their soft skill, like I mentioned, right? The communication skill, right? They need to communicate with me, and also to be an independent or learner. And one of the soft skill I found OneNote helping my student a lot is note taking or time management, right? And I know that a lot of colleges complain students had lack of those skills, and with this like organizing feature in OneNote, my students getting much better in the note taking, and schedule their assignments or learning in a much better way. All right, I think that I use up all the time. And if you you still have any question, because it happened to me all the time after conferences and workshop, my mind just like fire up. Oh, I want to do this, and then when I started doing that, I was like, oh, I wish I asked this question. If you ever run into that situation, please feel free to contact me, and I put that on my screen. I have my email up there, and also on my Twitter, sometimes I retweet about some of the hints of math, teaching math, or some of the hint how I use technology, because I'm a technology trainer for the faculty in my college as well. So yeah, hope that I can hear from you and hope I can help you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you, Professor Chen, and thank you all for attending. If you or any of your fellow instructors are interested in presenting for our Learning and Growing webinar series, please submit your proposals to the Learning and Growing website, which I'm going to go ahead and link in the chat right now for easy access. And we will be emailing you a link of this recording of the webinar once it's available. So be on the lookout for that. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close out the meeting invite. It was a pleasure working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.